Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video of today, we're going to get a dive into resistors, what the resistors are all about, and how to measure resistance using the color coding and a digital multimeter. So if you're new to this channel, I would like you to subscribe and click on the notification icon to be quickly updated whenever we post a new content. Okay, so let's dive into the lesson of today. What actually are resistors? Resistors are electronic components that actually are meant to limit the flow of current or electric current in a circuit. So it limits or reduces the flow of current in a circuit. And basically, a resistance of a resistor can be measured in ohms, kilo ohms, and mega ohms. And resistors, you can either read the resistance using the color coding or a digital multimeter. So talking of the color coding, how do you read the resistance of a resistor using the color coding? The resistor can either be in two types: the 5 band code resistor and the 4 band. So here are two examples of a 5 band resistor and a 4 band resistor. So what is a 5 band resistor and what is a 4 band resistor? The bands are actually the amount of color coding that are found on that resistor. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a 5 band, and 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 4 band resistor. And how do you read the resistance using these bands? So for every resistor, be it a 5 band or a 4 band, the last color is always the tolerance, and the second to the last is the multiplier. So how do you know the last color, the last band on that resistor? It's always differentiated with a bigger gap. So as you can see, this has a larger space than any of these, and this also has the larger space. So this here is the last band, and this also is the last. So this last is always the multiplier. The second to the last is always the last is always the tolerance, and the second to the last is always the multiplier. So for this, you start reading from here. This is the first right up to the last, and following the table here, you can see that every color has its number, its digits, its multiplier value, and its tolerance value. If it's a brown, for instance, the first band is always 1, the next one, and the multiplier is always 10. The tolerance is plus or minus 1%. So, for instance, let's read if it's for example, let's use this 220 ohms resistor. It has a red, brown. So red 2, the next red 2, that's 22, and brown is actually 10, and brown being the last color here, or the second to the last, because whenever you see these three values, know that this is a 4 band, because the last value is not always mentioned whenever you want to calculate the resistance of a resistor, but because it's just tolerance, not mean you don't use it. Tolerance actually means how efficient it is or how precise it is. So for a tolerance of 1, that means plus or minus 1, that means a resistor, for example, 10 ohms, sometimes you can measure it and it gives you 9 ohms, or it gives you 11 ohms. That's a tolerance of 1. And a tolerance of 0.5, that's green, that means you can measure, let's say, the same 10 ohms, it will give you 9.5 or 10.5. That's actually what tolerance means. So if you're reading a resistance, for example, if you want to read this resistor, let's use this. It has a red first, that is 2. It has orange, that's 3, and it has violet, that's 7. So 237, that is 237, and the multiplier is black, and black is 1. So you take 237 times 1, you still give you the same 237. So this is actually a 237 ohms resistor. As you can see, it's written here 237 ohms. and a tolerance of rounded to 1, that's plus or minus 1. So this can be applied to every other resistor, be it a 5 band or a 4 band. Okay, so let's look at the real life example on how to calculate the resistance using color coding.